What's going on, guys? My name is Josh, and today, since we've already covered the entire Montana CDL Manual for 2016, what we're going to do is we're going to a website named driving-tests.org. I'm not sure if you can see that, but this is what it looks like on your phone. And you go to it, and it's all free. You don't have to register, nothing like that. And you click Ready to Start. And then it gives you a little drop down for the state that you're looking at. Make sure you select Montana if that's the state that you're working towards getting your CDL or CLP in. And then it gives you a menu, okay? So up here at the top, you're going to select CDL. And it's going to give you a list of tests that you can take. Now, let's see. The one that I typically do is the CDL practice test, and then I go down and I do multiple ones. So you click on your practice test, and they're all multiple question because that's what, that's what it's going to be like. Alright, and so now here's where you have, down at the bottom, if you could see, I have, you can see your progress. One question, whoops, I just hit something. Don't do anything. Okay. You can see 1 out of 50 progress, because that's, is it right here? Right there. You see 1 out of 50 progress, and then you can see, like, you can get a hint if you want. You can go to the mirror, or you can see the menu, or you can see that the errors that you've made. And I've made 2 from a previous test. And so yeah. So for this one, this is question number 1. What is a common cause of tire fires? Okay. Your options are cold tires, overinflated tires, underinflated tires, or all of these. Now, which one do you guys think it is? Okay. I think it's underinflated tires. And so I click on that, and it not only gives me the green light saying that that's correct, but it gives me a little piece of information below saying underinflated tires and dual tires that touch are the most common causes of tire fires. Really cool, right? Okay, so then you come down here and you hit the next button. I'll make sure you guys can see this. So you hit next, and it gives you your next question. Is it true that as long as the engine is not overheated, it is completely safe to remove the radiator cap? And you have to be careful with these because sometimes they do try and trip you up a little bit. And hopefully I'll get the one question particularly that, like, Aren't you supposed to, like, let it cool? Yes, as long as the radiator isn't damaged. Yes. Yes, as long as there is no overflow. And no. Those are your options. So, we're going to say no. And then it gives us the green line. Yay, you got it right. That's right. My girl is smart. And then it says, it is not enough for the engine to not be overheated. The system should have cooled completely before you even attempt to remove the radiator cap. And even then, you should be very careful as there may be tremendous pressure and damaging steam and fluids. Dope. And then you hit next. It's going to give you your next question. And this is one of the reasons, like, I love this website is because not only do they tell you right or wrong, but they give you further information so that, honestly, like, it helps you know even more. And I personally appreciate that there's a different set of these tests for every state. Because to me, I don't want to just practice some blanket test that may or may not be legit for Montana because I'm not taking my test in Mississippi. I don't care what Mississippi thinks should be on their test. I want to pass for Montana because that's where I'm taking my test. You know what I'm saying?
Should it all be the same if you're driving, like,
I mean, you would think.
Every state?
You would think, but it's not necessarily. There were a lot of things that were just a little bit different from California to Michigan. which is weird. Okay, question number 3. And again, you can see down here your progress, and it's going to tell you whether or not you would have passed the test based on your ratio of correct answers. Okay, so this question is, what will help a drunk sober up? A glass of water, fresh air, time, or coffee? All right, which one do you guys think it is? If you said time, then you and I are both correct. And the reason for that is, there is no fast answer to getting the alcohol out of your system since it's inside your bloodstream. Coffee and fresh air will not do the trick. You must wait until you're sober or risk losing your CDL if you drive. While country songs say love will help, we recommend you don't risk it. Alright, question number 4. Which of the following should you not do if you experience a tire failure? They say, which should you not do? So when you're taking your permit test, read the questions. Don't assume you know what they're asking. Read it. Take your time and read it. As far as I know, for the permit test, there's no extra credit for speed. Hold the steering wheel firmly. You need to be aware that a tire has failed. Engage the brakes hard and immediately, or stay off the brake pedal. Which one do you guys think it is? Okay, if you answered engage the brakes hard and immediately, you identified which one you should not do. And the additional information they give is, while it's natural to want to take control of the situation by braking, slamming on your brakes could actually put the vehicle out of control. So slowly brake once you're in control of the vehicle. Good job, we're down 4 questions so far. And we haven't gotten any wrong. Okay. Question number 5. Which is not one of the 4 skill areas that operating a commercial vehicle requires? What is not one of the 4 skill areas that operating a commercial vehicle requires? Is it accelerating? Is it safely backing? Is it steering? Or is it first aid certification? I'll give you a second to think about it so you don't have to pause every time. If you picked first aid certification, you were correct. Right here.
That's what I thought it was, and I didn't even hear the question.
While first aid certification could certainly come in handy at some point during your career, it is not one of the 4 skill areas mentioned that you must be proficient in for safe vehicle operation. Let's go on to question number 6. Do empty trucks have the best braking?
No.
Yes? No? Yes, but only if the truck is newer than 1998? Yes, but only on wet surfaces. Maggie thinks it's no.
Loaded vehicles have the best.
Big!
Well, it's true.
You're being Hermione right now.
Sorry.
You gotta give him a second to think. Okay, so tell me now what you were gonna say.
Loaded vehicles have the best braking.
Why?
I think the extra weight.
Why?
I don't know.
Because they're designed to operate at their maximum capacity. They're meant to operate... Yeah, but you're exactly right. I just wanted to give them a second so like they can actually think about it, because...
They either know it or they don't.
That's not true. Sometimes for some of these questions you can reason your way through it and figure out what they're looking for by process of eliminating the wrong. I was taking these tests before I actually studied the manual, and I was able to get a passing grade based on like eliminating the answers that didn't make sense. So honestly, I feel like you're going to be able to, if you do any amount of studying or watching any of these videos and you have general common sense, I feel like you could get your permit. I feel that way. And for my school and the company that I was selected at, like accepted into, they literally like day 2 you take your permit test, because the whole thing is you need more time on the truck driving. That's where you need your time. The permit, you're probably going to be able to get that. Okay, so do empty trucks have the best braking? No. Trucks brake best when they are being used as they were designed, to carry a properly balanced load. It might seem that empty trucks should be able to stop sooner, but they actually have greater stopping distance because they have less traction. Because they're lighter, which is exactly what you said. You were right. Maybe you should be getting your CDL, babe. I think you could do this. I really do.
Yeah, but I'd actually have to drive it.
I think you'd actually like driving a big-ass truck. Personally. With your attitude, your personality is large and in charge. I feel like you would do well on a truck, personally. Okay. Question numero 7. While driving at night, which lights should you use as often as you can? Novelty lights? High beams? Low beams? Or emergency flashers? Think about it. You should be able to eliminate. You should be able to eliminate at least 2 of them automatically because that just don't make sense.
What's the question?
While driving at night, which lights should you use as often as you can?
High beams.
Exactly. If you chose high beams, you were correct, and here's why. When driving at night, you should be using your high beams to expand your field of vision as often as possible, as long as it's safe and legal and you will not blind any other drivers. The rule of thumb is to put them on as long as there are no approaching vehicles within 500 feet. Okay? And also be careful of who's in front of you because you don't want to blind them either. Okay? But if you think about it, that's the answer that makes sense because your following distance is at nighttime you need to lengthen your following distance because that's what you can see. You should be able to legally stop and safely stop within your field of view. And if at nighttime you're going 55 miles per hour, you're actually not driving responsibly because there's no way you can see that far out. You should be going slower and have your high beams on and you can maybe go a little faster. But essentially, that's why it makes so much sense. Use your high beams as often as possible. Okay. Question number 8. Total stopping distance is a combination of perception distance, reaction distance, and braking distance, braking distance and stopping distance, reaction distance and braking distance, or reaction distance, viewing distance, and braking distance. Give you a second to think. If you answered perception distance plus reaction distance plus braking distance, you were right. Oh, I like to show it to you so you can see. You were right. Total stopping distance is a combination of your perception distance, how far the vehicle goes from when you see the hazard until your brain processes it, reaction distance, the amount of time from your brain informing your foot to take action until your foot actually does something, and braking distance, how long it takes to stop once you press the brake. It's the 3. Okay. Doing good so far. 8 out of 50 and we've gotten them all right. Hopefully you're following along. Okay. Question number 9. Which of the following statements about retarders is correct? When your drive wheels have poor traction, the retarder may cause them to skid. You should turn the retarder off whenever the road is wet, icy, or snow-covered. Retarders help slow a vehicle, reducing the need for using your brakes. Or, all of these are correct.
All of these.
Stop answering before they can think.
Sorry.
Give them like a few seconds.
I don't know if I'm right, so...
If you agreed with Maggie, you were correct. While retarders can help reduce the need for your brakes, they can make it more likely for you to skid in inclement weather or whenever your wheels experienced poor traction. Because of this, you should always turn off your retarders in poor weather. Think about it like this. Your retarders are kind of like cruise control. If you use them and the road is wet, it's stupid. Don't do that. That's a thing that I'm like really big on because people don't realize that and they can like flip their cars and stuff. It's insane. You really have to be careful with cruise control and your engine retarders. Alright, question number 10. It has just reached freezing. Which of the following areas is slippery? A bridge, a shaded area, a wet-looking road, or all of the above? Think about it. If you answered, like Maggie, all of the above, you were correct. Once the temperature dips down to freezing, some areas of the road will start to freeze. The first to go will be areas without sun, shaded areas, and bridges. If the road appears wet, that could also herald the arrival of black ice, a thin layer of slippery ice through which you can see the actual road. And there was just a huge kerfuffle about black ice and how crazy it is, so we really want to be careful with that. Now, we're a fifth of the way through the test and we've gotten them all right so far, so let's keep going. Which two special conditions indicate that you should downshift? Now, keep in mind with these questions, because there's people that complain and post notes on Facebook, there's a ton of reasons. What is this test asking us for? Which two special indications out of these options indicate that you should downshift? Is it starting up a hill and finishing a curve? Is it starting down a hill and finishing a curve? Is it starting up a hill and entering a curve? Or is it starting down a hill and entering a curve?
I say the last one.
You're not giving them a chance to think about it, love.
But I don't know if I'm right.
That doesn't matter. Give them a chance to think so they're not like, yeah, what Maggie said. Maggie's not going to be on your shoulder during your test, which is why I'm saying for her to give you a second. Now, if, like Maggie, you said starting down a hill and entering a curve, you were correct. Downshifting before starting down a hill allows you to take advantage of your engine braking. You should downshift to the gear required, which is usually lower than the gear required to climb that hill. Downshifting before a curve improves stability and ensures you will have the power available to accelerate out of the turn. Important to remember, if you need to use your retarders going down a downgrade, you want your RPMs to be high and you want your engine gear to be low, which is they're hand in hand. So it makes perfect sense that you want to be in a lower gear going down because that limits your speed via your engine.
See, I didn't know all that.
I know, but I'm trying to give them just a second to think about it. Because for me, if somebody like that were I would lose benefit to the test if somebody
I'm fine,
like you.
I'll be quiet.
Just give it 3 seconds and then you can jump in, Hermione. You should place the starter switch key into your pocket when you're performing the pre-trip inspection because someone could start and move the truck, someone could steal the truck, it could damage the starting mechanism, or all of the above.
1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, all of the above.
Actually, the correct answer...
Or would it be the first one?
The correct answer is someone could start and move your truck. Essentially, when you're performing the pre-trip inspection, you do not want someone, such as a co-driver, to start your vehicle while unaware of your location and accidentally injure you. That's the answer they're looking for. Yeah, the others might be right. But to be honest, if you're keeping your truck in a safe way, it should be much harder than that for someone to get in and steal your truck. And damage the starting mechanism. Yeah, there is some argument that heavy keychains can damage your starter. However, that's not really what they're looking for.
Yeah, you're smart. I should have said that.
Okay, question number 13. To transport cargo safely, which of these are you not responsible for? Read the questions, please, because I was taking these tests and failing sometimes because I wasn't reading the questions properly. Which are you not responsible for? Making sure that cargo is properly secured, inspecting the cargo, recognizing possible overloads, or ensuring the freshness of sealed cargo. Now, if you have common sense, you can answer this without even really knowing jack all about this. Because
ensuring the freshness.
Ensuring the freshness of sealed cargo. They give it away. Because if a cargo is sealed, you're never going to open it. That's not your job. You know, of course you're going to make sure it's properly secured. Of course you're going to inspect whatever cargo you're allowed to look at. And recognizing overloads, you need to know if you're fat or not. But you don't inspect something that's sealed. You're not responsible for the state of sealed cargo, nor can you inspect it. You're only responsible for the safety of the cargo, ensuring that it's balanced, secured, and not overloaded, and does not get in the way of emergency equipment. Next question. How can you determine if your vehicle is equipped with ABS? Check for yellow ABS malfunction lamps on the instrument panel. Look for the wheel speed sensor wires that are coming from the rear of your brakes. Check if your vehicle was manufactured after March 1st, 1998. They're required to have the panel light. Or all of the above. Hit it.
All of the above or the first one, I'm not sure.
If you answered like Maggie, all of the above, you are correct, my friend. Most vehicles now will have a light on the instrument panel that will illuminate briefly when the vehicle is started to alert you about the ABS, but you can always check for wires from your brakes. Next question.
These people should be able to pass it because I haven't studied any of this crap.
How many seconds does it take for a normal tractor trailer to clear a double track? Is it 14 seconds? Is it more than 30 seconds? Is it 10 seconds? Or is it more than 15 seconds?
I want to say it's more than 15.
Okay. The important thing that we're looking here for is for a double track of railroad crossing.
Because the regular one is 14. Right?
Yep. Okay, if you answered with Maggie more than 15 seconds, you are absolutely correct. You can expect it to take more than 15 seconds for a regular tractor trailer to clear a double track and 14 seconds to be safely over a single track. Alright. What constitutes a hazardous materials placard? Signs that help tax collectors determine how much to tax a hazardous cargo? Signs on the outside of the vehicle that identify the hazard class of cargo? Signs on the inside of the vehicle that remind the driver what he or she is carrying? Or signs that warn the public to stay at least 1,000 feet away from the vehicle? If you have common sense, you know what the answer to this question is.
B.
Signs on the outside of the vehicle that identify the hazard class of cargo. Correct. Hazardous material placards are 4 regulated signs on the outside of the vehicle that identify the hazard class of the cargo for those who need to know, such as emergency service personnel or those who load and unload cargo. The reason they're asking this question is because you need to know if someone tries to get you to carry hazardous materials, because you may or may not be
it's an extra endorsement you need.
Endorsed for that. So
the first one, the first option, that's your IRP.
Yeah. How many hours of sleep does the average person need per night, or they risk accumulating sleep debt? Is it 6 to 8 hours? Is it 8 to 9 hours? Is it 7 to 8 hours? Or is it 6 to 7 hours?
I'd say 6 to 8.
The answer is 7 to 8 hours.
Oh.
Sleep debt is a dangerous condition in which missing sleep adds up until you risk falling asleep at the wheel. People are often surprised when they find out that getting only 6 hours of sleep per night triples your risk of accidents.
Well, don't listen to me.
Yeah, but even so, we're on question 18 and you got one wrong.
That's not true. I got another one wrong.
No, maybe. I forget. If you're traveling at 55 miles per hour in a 30-foot vehicle, you should leave how many seconds of following distance? Is it 3 seconds?
One more time, start.
If you're traveling at 55 miles per hour in a 30-foot vehicle, you should leave how many seconds of following distance? Is it 3 seconds? Is it 7 seconds? Is it 6 seconds? Or is it 4 seconds?
I want to say 6.
The answer is 4 seconds. The reason for this is the formula for following distance is 1 second for every 10 feet of your vehicle, and then add an extra second if you're traveling over 40 miles per hour. So for a 30-foot vehicle going 55 miles per hour, you should leave a following distance of 4 seconds.
I got the 1 second for every 10 right, but then I thought it was 3 seconds for 55. So I would.
Oh, that makes sense. No, it's just one extra second if you're over 40. Starting the engine and inspecting the cab involves each of these tasks, except read the questions when you're taking this test. Checking the air pressure gauge, starting the engine and then putting the gear shift in neutral, starting the engine and then listening for unusual noises, checking the transmission controls. You know this. We asked one of our friends about this.
Oh, putting in neutral. Right?
The correct answer, Maggie even got it because we asked one of our amazing friends and she helped us with this. Starting the engine and then putting the gear shift in neutral. Your gear shift should be in neutral when you start the vehicle, so that's your first tip. So the correct answer of the things that you don't do is starting the engine and then putting the gear shift in neutral. Please note that the question contains an except clause. When performing this part of the inspection, however, you must put the gear shift in neutral, then start the engine and listen for any unusual noises. Once you perform the engine check, you will check all of your gauges and controls, such as the air pressure gauge and transmission controls. Read the question. You will save yourself so much grief. Question 20. A road user or road condition that could be a possible danger is something that you must stop for, something you can easily avoid, or something you can safely ignore. I completely got that wrong.
I wasn't listening.
Read the question. I didn't read the question. That's so funny. The definition of a hazard is a road user or road condition that could be a possible danger, something you must stop for, something you can easily avoid, something you can safely ignore. I was like,
First one.
yeah, I thought the first one was a question, and I was like, I haven't seen this question before. I'm confused. A hazard is something that could go wrong, but it won't if you've been vigilant. See, I didn't read the question and I got one wrong. So that's why I keep saying read the questions, because I'm even doing it and I've taken these tests a lot. Where should you place your warning devices if you must stop on a one-way or divided highway? The divided means that the only traffic in between you and a divide is going your direction. It's one way. Okay? So would it be 20 feet, 50 feet, and 100 feet toward approaching traffic? Would it be 100 feet, 200 feet, and 300 feet toward approaching traffic? Would it be 50 feet, 100 feet, and 100 feet toward approaching traffic? Or would it be 10 feet, 100 feet, and 200 feet toward approaching traffic?
What was the first answer?
20, 50, and 100. It's 20, 50, and 100, 100, 200, and 300, 50, 100, and 150, or 10, 100, and 200.
It's one of the two middle ones, but I want to say no. Is it the first one?
Nope. It's always 10, 100, and then 200. Because you're going to basically 10 feet from your vehicle, and then 100, and then 200. On a one-way or divided highway, you want to stretch your warning devices out, but still have them close enough to the vehicle that it makes it clear that you're stopped. Devices at 10, 100, and 200 feet accomplish that task. How long will you lose your CDL driving privileges if you are convicted of a second DUI offense in either a CMV or your private vehicle? Is it 10 years minimum? Is it 1 year minimum? Is it life? Or is it 5 years minimum? Oh, you weren't listening. What do you think it is?
I think it's 1 year minimum, but I'm not sure what the question was.
Your second DUI offense.
No, it's life, isn't it?
Yep. Life. If you answered with Maggie, you are correct. Due to nationwide drunk driving laws, a second DUI offense, regardless of the vehicle being driven, will cause you to lose your CDL for life. Your first offense is a wake-up call and a chance to get help, but your second offense is going to mean unemployment if you get a DUI. Seek help before you lose your salary and your future. And, may I add, possibly your life or someone else's. Just saying. Question 23. How often must you stop